Well, it's been another pretty typical work day for me. I had a bunch of microphones to make, and I put together a bunch of leather work for Green Mountain customers. And I've got about an hour before Becca gets home. I was going to start editing the video that I filmed on Friday. My friend Ed invited me out to the east side of Vermont again along the Connecticut River. And we went up the side of the mountain to this old home site which had just an incredibly fascinating history. I'm really excited to share that with you. And I found something that I want to get cleaned up before I continue editing this video. And I thought maybe this was a good time to kind of show people the process that I've come up with to treat iron artifacts, which may be in not very good shape. This is going to be kind of a spoiler for a video that's going to be posted in the winter time, so if you want to be surprised, you can stop watching here. But I found an old plate, side plate, to a flintlock. Maybe a pistol, maybe a long gun, I'm not quite sure yet. But I'm really excited about getting this cleaned up because I'm hoping there's going to be some engraving on here underneath the layer of rust. Now, I am not an expert when it comes to this sort of thing. This is something that I've kind of come up with on my own, but I'm going to bring you along the process. It's a long process. It's not going to be completed today. But the first step is going to be simply washing this thing with water and a toothbrush to get as much dirt off as I can before we move on to the next step. All right, well, now that the majority of the dirt is off this thing, I'm going to move on to trying to knock some of these nodules off. Now, I'm not really sure of the chemistry of what causes these things to form, but when iron is in the ground for long periods of time, something leaches out and creates these little bumps, and usually you could knock them off, either with the wire brush, or I'm going to try using some of these tools that I have on my workbench for making microphones. We're going to knock off as many as we can, and then we're going to let the next process kind of take care of the rest. So we'll see how much we can get off. All right, well, I think that it's as clean as we're going to get it at this stage, so I'm going to put it in a bath of evaporust. Now, I know a lot of guys in this hobby really enjoy using electrolysis, and it's something that I've experimented with in the past, but I'm not a big fan of it. Evaporust, by the way, I'm not a sponsor, is very, very gentle. I've had issues in the past with electrolysis having the iron be eaten away if you leave it in too long. That doesn't necessarily happen with this stuff, though it's expensive. So if I find something very large in iron, I will put it in an electrolysis bath. But for something as small as this, it doesn't even use up the whole tub. And it's reusable. Part of the reason why we knocked off as much nodules as we could earlier is because it's just going to prolong the life of this stuff, and I don't have to buy it again. So we're gonna put it in this old Chinese food container. We'll leave it sitting overnight. We'll check it again in 24 hours. If it needs more time, we'll give it more time. We'll probably try to knock some more nodules off tomorrow and see how it goes. So we're gonna give it some time. Well, it is Friday morning. I am sick. Bentley's just coming out of it, and Becca is just starting to get it. So, second time this month. Pretty awesome. Our little small town does this food pantry thing this time of year, and we're collecting some food from our families. So we're headed to my mom's house right now, which is the home where I grew up. She has some stuff for us, and then later today we're going to go drop it all off. Where are we dropping it off?
At a church that hosts the food pantry.
After just a couple days, we woke up and all the snow is gone, down here at least. I think probably if you get up in the mountains, there's still several inches, but Bentley was very disappointed that there was no snow this morning.
Mama.
Hi. How are you?
Big
Got
bag.
some soup and some vegetables and
That'll be great.
chicken.
Are we gonna bring them to the food pantry? pantry this
They're
afternoon?
for some people that don't have enough to eat. Huh?
Mom?
No, thanks.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye, you guys.
See ya. Thank you for the donation.
Oh, you're welcome.
We're leaving Bentley here. I'll run some errands.
I know the elephant.
You'll put the donation in now.
Yep.
Bye, Bentley. Bye, Grandma.
See ya.
Yes, that's a nice pumpkin, isn't it? It's kind of like your school, isn't it?
And you can just leave it on the table.
Perfect.
It's our little food pantry.
Very
That's
nice.
cool. So people can come like a couple times a month or something like that?
It's open a couple times a month. Anybody who's in need can come, and if and again, like I said, if anybody who reaches out to me, we'll find a way to get them some food.
Right.
All right. Well, life got away from me a little bit here. This flintlock plate has been in the evaporust for a few days now. I haven't looked at it yet, so we're going to look at it together, see if it needs longer, see what the next step should be. All right, let's see. Not too bad. I don't really see any engraving on here yet, except for maybe this little border. And we do have kind of a little appointment down here. I was hoping for more, but this isn't bad. So what I'm going to do, kind of hit these rusty spots. This is kind of like a sludge that's on the surface here. I'm going to hit that with just a toothbrush under running water again. We'll put it back in this bath for, I'll say 24 hours, but it might be a little bit longer. We'll see. Looks good though. What do you think?
It looks kind of wilted, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little yellow.
Yeah, a little yellow.
What do you think, Bentley?
I think it's pretty.
You think it's pretty?
Give me a look.
Oh yeah, there's a big hole in the back. All
Let's find one that
keep
shape.
looking.
It's good.
This one's good? What do you think?
I don't know. Do you want to keep looking, or is he the one? I have a problem because I want to bring home like this, and it doesn't fit in the house.
No, that won't fit in the
It's
house.
too big.
I think this one.
It's always so much bigger once we get home.
Beck is very specific about her Christmas trees and her pumpkins.
I don't know. What do you think? Is that the one? Should we look across the street?
I mean, it's pretty cold outside. All right, I think we decided this is the one. Right, guys?
That's the one.
It's a little too tall. It's like 9 feet tall.
We always get it too big.
But it'll
Bentley
make
hugged
it
it and
fit.
said that was the one.
All right, we're gonna cut this thing down. push, 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 push.
Yay!
We always overdo it. What do you think, Bentley?
Do it. Let's get it home.
Big enough?
I need a taller step stool.
I'm taking a break. Martin tradition is getting a tree that's too big. And it looks like, yet again, we've succeeded. It's not touching the ceiling this year. It's close, though. It's real close. Alright folks, well it is Friday again, and Black Friday, and we're just going to kind of end out this video talking about all of the things that have happened over just the last few days, because there's been a lot. We have a apocalyptic sized snowstorm forecast for this weekend. Normally I like to try to confine Christmas to December, but this year, because of the snowstorm, we thought it would probably be a good idea to get the Christmas tree a little bit early so that we didn't have to do it with 2 foot of snow on the ground. And we also hung up some Christmas lights, and this was kind of Bentley's first experience doing this. He's old enough now where we're not just worried about him falling over just walking as you do toddlers. And he's kind of a daredevil anyways, so he really had a good time just going up the ladder and helping me hang these things up. It was a fun experience for him and for us too. I recorded a musician who's home on holiday break. He came in. Unfortunately, we didn't finish the song, otherwise I would play it for you guys, but we got most of it done, and it's coming out pretty good. I think it's gonna sound great when it's done. Yesterday was Thanksgiving, and we hosted the dinner.
Get out of here.
We had a bunch of our family come over, and we have a lot to be thankful for this year. We had a lot of fun, and Bentley had a great time playing with his one and only cousin. I'm an only child, and Becca only has one sister with one child, so Bentley had fun playing with her. We're excited for Christmas when we get to see all of them again. As I mentioned, today is Black Friday, and as a business owner, I am having a sale and fully expecting to be completely inundated with microphone orders this week. So we're going to get this flintlock plate out of the evaporust. It's been in there over a week, and we're going to get it kind of into the next step of this, because I fully expect to be sitting at this desk over here soldering together microphones until Christmas. So let's take a look at that flintlock plate and maybe see what the next step might be. Okay, well, best case scenario. You might be able to notice I've got some rubber gloves on here. I'll explain that in a second. This thing, as I mentioned, was sitting in the evaporust for 8 days. Once I took it out and gave it a good brushing, put it back in for another several days, and I took it out, used this fairly aggressively to just get off as much of the rust as I possibly could, and you can see that there really isn't a whole lot of red staining left. And to my surprise, there's a manufacturer on here. I've been trying to decipher what it is because a lot of the text is not still there. I could almost certainly make out what LAN. I thought maybe it was CLAN with an E, maybe McLean, but after some internet research and Googling, this winds up being Ketland, Ketland. & Co. at the bottom. After some Googling, I was able to find an image of what this gun would have looked like in the time. What is the time? Circa 1780. Now, these folks were in business for quite a while, but I found one that is nearly identical to this. This appointment's the same. The way that this border ends right here is the same. The text, the font, everything. And it was dated 1780. So that's super exciting. So this is just raw iron right now. If we left this out, it's going to rust again. So the next step for me, we're going to re-blue this. Bluing is a technique that's been around hundreds of years. It's a way of preserving iron. It's the way this would have originally been finished. Gunsmiths hundreds of years ago would have done this with a different process of either boiling or steaming to form a black oxide layer on top of the iron. But it's 2019 and we have some chemicals that will do this for us cold. I'm wearing gloves because I just wiped this thing down with lacquer thinner to get all the oil off it. And now I'm going to go get the cold blue solution and see if we can get this thing to turn black. All right, so this is the bluing compound. So as I mentioned, this is going to form a black iron oxide layer on the surface of the iron. And not only is that going to protect it from rusting, but black oxide is far more porous than just the normal iron, and it's going to hold onto oil much better. It's going to convert some of this red rust that we still have on here, and it's going to take a few applications to get it where we want it. But it's already turning darker and getting a blue cast to it. Okay, so I've applied maybe 4 times, and I just use a little steel wool in between, and it's still a little bit wet, but it's got a blue cast to it now. Almost all of the red from the rust is gone. And the last step for this now is I'm going to put this in a little vat of boiled linseed oil, and all of that oil is going to seep into the little pores of the black oxide, and it's going to keep this thing from rusting again. And I'll have to reapply oil every once in a while, like once a year or once every other year or something like that, just to keep it oiled up and keep it from rusting. But that's a beautiful relic right there. I mean, we have the manufacturer on there, gives us a date. That's like an awesome display piece. And it's a small gun. We were not quite sure whether if it was a long gun or a handgun, and it's a single shot handgun. Amazing. All right, we're gonna end it here. Hope you enjoyed the journey this week, and we'll show you this next week, all finished up and oiled up. Thanks again for watching.